Morning, Ernie.
Good morning.
I get
Morning,
Aufstand.
Shabbat.
I get an Aufstand. It's
We're on
nice
cook-
to be young, to be able to sleep so late in the morning. You should come to shul this morning. It was nice and warm in shul. Outside there, freezing the harness off.
You didn't just wake me up. I thought we were doing it this afternoon. I completely forgot. Amalei Ravasi, we're on Kuf Yud Gimel 103, excuse me, 113.
113.
113. Amalei Rav Ravasi. So Rav said to Ravasi, again, we're continuing in this vein of giving instructions to people. Lo toda b'masa de litzonif basusia. Don't live in a city that a horse doesn't, bray, below navach bakabo, or a dog doesn't bark. That's important for protection of people. A barking dog, etc. It's dangerous to live in such a city if it's not there. Val toda be'ir deresh masa asya. Don't live in don't live in a city where the mayor's a doctor. Because since he's really busy, he's gonna forgo the the needs of the town. Velotinsiv tarti, don't marry two women. Don't have two wives. And inospis tarti, if you marry two wives, go ahead and nosiv tlas, marry a third one. Because when you have one against one, it's a problem. With three, it's easier.
But 3 shvigers.
Yeah, 3 figures. That if the two people conspire,
Yeah.
the third will tell you about it. Amle Rav Kahana. Hafach b'nevelta v'lo tefach b'mili. You can go back on an avela, but don't go back on your words. That means that which you promised, you should fulfill. V'lo tema kahana anova gavarabban. Don't say I'm kahana, I'm a great man. V'sanya be milsa. Because salat le'igra sherusa badach. Throw the nevela out in the market, and somebody will pay you for it. And don't say I'm a kohen, I'm a great, it's disgusting for me to deal with it. It means there are some people who have to do work, even though it's sort of a embarrassing kind of work. Better to do that than have to come on to, begging from people and going from door to door. Ma'akari b'masa zuzah. Tusi knafecha nevu. If there's 100 cucumbers in the city that is being sold for like a penny, then you have to always make sure you got good food in your house. Tusi knafecha, and keep it under, because cucumber is not a very chashav dik of food. You should make sure you have good food in your house. Amalei Rav Chia Lebrei. Rav Chia said to his son, Lo tishte sama, don't get used to drinking like medical elixirs, because it'll become normal for you. And it's like addictive. You won't be able to stop. V'lo tishvar nigra. Don't try to jump over like a ditch. You're going to exert yourself too much. You might hurt yourself. V'lo ta'akor kaka. Don't pull a tooth. The dentist is going to want to pull your tooth, but no, try to heal it without pulling it. V'lo tekane b'chivra. Don't chop with a snake to try to kill him, make him go away, because he'll end up damaging you. Don't have chichkis with a non-Jew. It's also dangerous. Three types of people you don't want to get into fights with. Nochri cotton, a young Gentile, Nachash cotton, a small Nachash, for Talmud cotton, a young Talmud, my timer. The Malchusai Achrei Udnayu Koi. They're going to get bigger and stronger, and they're going to take revenge on what you did to them when they were young. Armle Rav Laivu Brei. Rav said to Ivu, Tarchi Bach B'Shmaitzav Lo Mistai Milsa. I tried to teach you halacha. I wasn't successful. You didn't become a gadol b'Torah. So ta'agmarcha mili dalma. So go learn a profession. Things to make a living. Adachala akirch zvinin zavich. That means when you have schoira, sell it right away, because he gave him some business rules. When you have schoira, sell it, because it's going to go down in price. You never know. And kol mili zavin u'sacharet. Whenever you sell something, you're going to regret it. Bar mechamed zavin v'lei tacharet. Except for wine, it's always good to sell wine, and you won't regret that, because wine can turn into vinegar. Shari kisayich ptach sakayich. Open up your purse in order to receive money. That means get paid first before you give the schoira to the person who's buying it from you. That way you know for sure that you're getting paid. Kaba me'ara v'lo me'igra. Better to make to earn a bushel from the ground than 100 bushels from the roof. When it's on the roof, it's not steady. It's more dangerous. If you have dates in your storehouse, go make beer out of it and sell it, because you'll make profit right away, and otherwise the dates may go bad. Ad kama amarava atlasa saw, up to 3 saws of dates. And that's the maximum that you'll be able to store safely. Amrav Papa, ilodra mai shachra lo atri. If it wasn't for the fact that I sold beer, I wouldn't have become wealthy. Rav Papa was wealthy. He said, Rav Chisda said that if it wasn't for beer, I wouldn't have become wealthy. My sudna, what is a sudna? Rav Chisda, sod naya. It's a nice secret. Ugmilas chasadim. It's a secret. A good advice to get profitable is to do gmilas chesed. You can give to aniyim money. It's not a lot of principle involved in giving tzedakah to people. Rav Papa called agav, gviya boy. Kinyan agav is like when let's say you have a field and there are metaltalin on the field, and somebody acquires the metaltalin, say by dint of acquiring a piece of land, you acquire the other thing. Now, even though, for example, there's a tractor in Montana and it's on a piece of land. You buy the piece of land, you acquire the tractor. But, Gvia boy, you still have to collect it. Can't use the tractor until you go into Montana and take it. Again, these are just little tricks to how to maintain your wealth. Kol ashroi, that if you're going to give schoira to somebody like on consignment, like almost as a loan, and then he's going to bring you back the profits, sufik asi, sufik lasi. Maybe you'll make profit, maybe you won't. Uda asi, and even if you make profit, mos rosninu. It's hard to collect on that kind of business. So that's not a very good business to go into. Rav Yochanan said three things in the name of the elders of Yerushalayim. In war, don't be the first one in on the front line. Al teitze b'shona. Ela teitze b'achrona. Kidei shetikanis b'rishona. You'll end up going into the city first because the city will probably fall by the time you get in there. He held like Rabbi Akiva that don't make a big deal on, don't spend a lot of money for Shabbos if you have to go and collect from charity. Otherwise, do it like you do during Monday or Tuesday. We said if you see somebody that's matzliach in business, try to go into partnership with them. Amar Rav Shlosha Dvar Amar Yoshu ben Levi Mishaman Yerushalayim. Altar bebignus. Don't do things in an open area. Mishum Maisa Shahai. He's referring to Basheva, David HaMelech and Basheva. That means make sure when you do private things, do it in private. Bitcha Bagra. When your daughter becomes 12 and a half, Shachra Avdecha V'tein Lo. Free your Eved Knani so that he becomes a Jew, and you can give that Eved once he's a Jew to your daughter for a husband, rather than allow the daughter to go out and meet people on her own. V'vizor b'ishtecha mechasna rishona. Be careful with your wife and your first son-in-law. My timer, Rav Chisda Amar Mishum Erva, because it might lead to an improper relationship. Rav Kana Amar Mishum Mamoy, that the wife will give the son-in-law money. Havaha Isnu, and really, we have to be worried about both. Amar Rav Yochanan, Shloisha Minoch Le'olam Haba. Three people are Zoichet Olam Haba, Elohein, Ador Be'eretz Yisrael, somebody who lives in Eretz Yisrael. Amegadol Banav L'Talmud Torah, somebody raises his son to be a Talmud Chacham. Ve'amavdil ala yayin b'motzei Shabbosos, somebody who's makpid to make Havdalah on yayin b'motzei Shabbat. Mahi, the Mishar Mikiddush L'Havdalta. He shows clearly there's a difference in his life between something that's kadosh and something that's not. And not only that, but he's saving his wine. He doesn't drink wine all Shabbos. Rather, he leaves it over for a mitzvah, which is the mitzvah of Havdalah. That's a sign that he's a ben olam haba. Kadosh Baruch Hu announces on these three people, Al Rava Kadar Bikrach Ve'nechote, a single man who lives in a big city, and he keeps his chastity. He doesn't get involved in sexual peccadillos. He doesn't think about women. An ani who finds a lost object and he returns it to the person who lost it. It's a sign that the ani is a righteous person. Wealthy person who gives meiser quietly, he doesn't show off his wealth. Rav Safra Rava Kadar B'Krachav. Rav Safra was a young person who lived as a single man in the city. Taitame Kamei Rav of Rav Safra. So Brisa was learned in front of Rav and Rav Safra. Tzavu pon of Rav Safra. This Brisa that praised a single person who's able to live in the city and get by without sin, he was read before Rav Safra. Rav Safra sort of glowed. He was happy that he was counted among those that HaKadosh Baruch Hu was machriz that they have olam haba. Amalei Rava, lav kagon mar, not like me, el kagon Rav Chanina Rav Oshaya, davu ushkafi ba'ard Yisrael. They were shoemakers in Eretz Yisrael. Bavi Yasri b'shuka de zoynos, and I guess the zoynos would buy shoes from them. And they would make shoes for the zoynos. So they would be in contact with them. The zonos would look at them, but they wouldn't pick up their eyes to look at the zonos. When they take a shvua, they would say b'chayein rabbanon kedisha dvar Yisrael. People would take a shvua in the name of these chachamim who are kedoshim. So that's what it's talking about, that they're machris on shamayim. They got to really be put to the test. Shlosha Kodesh Baruch Hu oyavan. Kodesh Baruch Hu loves three types of people. Mishen koyes, somebody who doesn't get angry easy. Umishena mishtaker, doesn't get drunk. Umishena mamin al midosav. He's not, somebody makes fun of him. He lets it slide. He doesn't stand on principle and get angry. Shosha Kodesh Baruch Hu soinon. Kodesh Baruch Hu hates three types. He speaks one way, but inside he's a different. He's not consistent. Toicho is not kabaro. Somebody knows testimony for him to be a witness, and he squelches it and he doesn't give testimony. Somebody sees a person committing some kind of dvar erva, and he just spreads gossip about it, rather than being moichiachim. Ki had Tuvia, like the case of Tuvia Chata, Tuvia committed some sin. Rav Papa. One person came and told Rav Papa about it. Zigud himself, Zigud was his friend, and he came to tell Rav Papa. Nagdel Zigud. So Rav Papa gave him Malchus. So Omar Tuvi Chata v'Zigud Mingid? I don't get it. Tuvi did the sin and I get Malchus? I get the patch? Amar lo in. Don't be a singular witness, because you can't bring him to din without two witnesses, and all you're doing is creating lashon hara. Right? You came alone as a single witness. It's not really edus. It's shem Rabba Alma Kamafkis Bey. You're being motzi shemra. Amar Shmuel bar Rav Yitzchak Amar Rav. But if you see a guy doing something inappropriate, mutar l'saneso, you're allowed to hate him. You're allowed not to love him. Shenamar ki tira chamor sonacha rovetz tachas masa'o. So what do you mean you see your enemy's chamor? My sone. What do you mean? Ilema sone. If it's a nochri, if it's a non-Jew, v'atan sone shamro sone Yisrael v'lo sone nochri. When it says Sone refers to a Jew, not to a goy. Elapshita is Sone Israel. Are you allowed to hate a Jew? Don't hate a Jew in your heart. How do you end up having a Sone? We're talking about there were Adim that saw somebody do something. So if two Adim came and gave testimony in Bezdin about a certain person that he was a ganef, So he's a sinner. Everybody's supposed to hate him. And what does it mean, my shnohai, that it's called your son, not the whole world's son? So it describes our case. It's a single person, not two Adim, who saw somebody do somebody bad, and you went and told about it. So that's you're allowed to be sonay him. You can't, you shouldn't tell on him, but you can hate him for his actions. Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak Omer mitzvah l'sanoisoi. It's a mitzvah to hate him. Shenemar yiras Hashem sinas ra. He's called a yirei Hashem if he hates evil. On Rav Acha Breder Rav el Ravashi. Ma'ala meimer leila rabbe l'mishane. Let's say a student sees one of his friends commit a sin. So is fine. You don't go to Bezdin. So are you allowed to tell your Rebbe about it? Amar Leis Ravashi said, if his Rebbe is going to believe him like two people, means he's got a lot of trust in him, then Lemalei. Then he should say him. But if not, he shouldn't say him. There are three kinds of people that their lives are not really good lives. Harachmanim, people who are extremely sympathetic to other people. They're always in pain because they see so much tsar, and he's makpid for people. He has no menucha. V'haraschanim, people who are easily angered. He's going to get angry all the time. V'anine adas, people that are very mafunik. They're very. The food has to be has to be like this. They can't have too much hot water. They're very finicky. On Rav Yosef, Kulu Isnu Bi. Rav Yosef testified, that all describes my personality. These three people, these three things all hate each other. Eluhin aklavim, vatarnagolim, vachaborim. Dogs, chickens, and then chaborim were Persian magicians, like a snake charmer. Right, they would play a flute, and they could get the snake to, like a snake charmer. And these chaborim would get the klavim and the chickens to do all sorts of kishuv things. So the three don't like each other. The zoynos are also part of this cabal that don't like each other. The Talmidei Chachamim also, they don't like other Talmidei Chachamim. Gerim like each other. Avodim, sort of are a group among themselves that take care of each other. V'orvim, ravens. Arboin adas soivlosan. These people always cause other people to be upset. Dal ge'e, a proud poor person. Asher makachesh, like a wealthy person, where people are always trying to claim stuff from him to try to make money off of him. The zaken menayef, an old person who's an adulterer. Uparnes mizgalat sibur b'chinam, the leader of a community who is sort of haughty over the tzibur. A man who divorces his wife twice and then takes her back a third time. It means by this time he should know his lesson. So people think he's foolish. The Tanakama is in the Ksub Samarupa. The Tanakama, who doesn't include a woman who was divorced 3 times, because maybe he wasn't able to pay her ksuba the whole time, so he has to bring her back. Or they have children, and therefore he doesn't want to stay divorced. He wants the mother to be around for the children. Canaan told his sons 5 things. You should love each other, but you should be involved in gzela, in theft. The evus azima, in immorality. The sinus adonechem, you should hate your masters because evet knani. V'al tidabru emes, always lie. Shisha dvarim ne'amarim basus, 6 things were said by a horse. Oives aznus, horse I guess fools around a lot. The oives amalchama, he likes war. The rucha gasu is very haughty. Umois is Hashem, doesn't like to sleep. The oichel harbe, he eats a lot. Umotzikima, and he goes to the bathroom a lot. The Yeshem Raf Mavakish Larak Bala b'Milcham, he tries to kill his master in war. Shiva Menudim l'Shamayim, 7 people are put into cherem from Shamayim. Elohein, Mishain lo Isha, a bachelor. V'sheyesh lo Isha ve'en lo banim, somebody who's married but doesn't have children. Misheyesh lo banim ve'magad l'Talmud Torah, somebody with children but didn't raise them l'Talmud Torah. Mishain lo tefillin b'rosho, tefillin b'zro, v'tzitzis b'vigdom, mezuzah b'pischo. A Jew doesn't wear tefillin, doesn't wear tzitzis, doesn't have a mezuzah. And somebody doesn't wear shoes. He doesn't join groups that are participating in mitzvah. He's not a social animal. You don't ask questions of the astrologers. You're not considered a tamim. You shouldn't try to find the future through astrology. How do we know that you're supposed to honor somebody who's greater than you in wisdom, even just in one thing, that you have to treat him with respect? Shenemar kol kavel di ruach yatira bei umalka asis lak musa kol malchusei. It's a pasuk in Daniel. That the ruach that the melech gave him to make him in charge of the whole country, you have to honor him. By Yosheves al dam tohor, within the 40 days after the birth of a male, or 80 days after the birth of a female, it's the dam that they see is called dam tohor. Now, after that, any blood that they see is the beginning of the nidus cycle. So therefore, asur l'shamesh. And ad kama, amrav ona, either 12 hours of the day or 12 hours of the night, she has to wait before they can have tashmish. Because you're allowed to have tashmish with that dam, because it's dam toar. Tana hu Yosef ish Hutzel, hu Yosef Abavli, hu Isi ben Gur Aryeh, hu Isi ben Yehuda, hu Isi ben Gamliel, hu Isi ben Malalel. All of these people describe the same person. Umashmo, Isi ben Akavya Shmo. His real name was Isi ben Akavya. Who Rav Yitzchak ben Tavlo, Rav Yitzchak ben Chalka, Rav Yitzchak ben Allah. This is another Chacham who has multiple names. So what time are we learning tomorrow? 7:15 or 7:30?
7:15 is okay.
7:15. You need to learn because there's 8 o'clock is that thing for the whiskey tasting, Ernie. I know that. Oh, nice. A big Talmidah Chachama.
Right, she was listening.
Okay, well, listen, there's a lot.